president at bottom of the 420th inning. So there's a crack in the bat. It's hit. He's running. He's rounding first. He's rounding second, completely ignoring third base. Oh, he's sliding head first into 69th base with Doug Mellard.
What up? Welcome to 69th Base. I'm your host, Doug Mellard. This is the podcast that makes fun of everything Skip Bayless, all the dumb crap that comes out of his mouth. We got a really fun podcast this week. We're going to do a deep dive into a weird video that somebody threw my way that really tears into his psyche. It's insane. We're going to take another peek into his wife's book that is hilarious. We're also going to talk about what Skip had to say about the Cowboys losing, whose jersey did he throw away this week, and much, much more drama, plus a new rumor. And Mikey and I have a meltdown. That's right. It's a Mikey and Dougie episode. And I'm not going to get into it now, but boy, are we going insane as we record this. Get ready. But first, guys, oh boy. You know, there's a certain age where young men find themselves in a way that's not fun for mothers washing their sheets, you know? You know what I'm saying? Winky wink. That's right, jerking off. You find that touching your pee-pee can be fun for you, and you go nuts, you know? This is not unfamiliar to this podcast. We've talked about this a little bit before. But when I was, you know, kind of at the peak of that, when discovering myself, let's say, I used to, I'm not afraid to admit it, we all did weird shit like this. I would have sex with a pillow, like a lot. That pillow is my bitch. I destroyed that pillow. I really did things, awful, awful things to this pillow. Just really got in there. And I mean, I must have dumped thousands of loads into that pillow. It was disgusting. And, you know, the weirdest part, like, and this was on my last album, Fart Safari 2, Fart Harder, but every once in a while my mom would pull out this pillow from her closet and she would pull it out to like watch a movie or whatever. And I would be like, oh no, Mom, don't do it. / just quit cock blocking me. Guys, I'm going to be honest. I would rather take the stuffing now. It's just been sitting around for 20 years. Take the stuffing from inside that cum-filled, nasty-ass pillow and eat that stuffing. Just every day. Just another pillow that I had done that to, you know? For the rest of my life, then be Skip Bayless for even 5 minutes. I think that's a fair thing to say. And that's how much I dislike that guy, as you can kind of tell by this podcast. Like, oh, man. Oh, my parents must be proud of the things that come out of my mouth. And sorry about that, Mom. She's heard that joke. She knows about it. It's fine. I don't know who I'm apologizing to. Anywho, let's get to it, guys. I'm going to bring on Mikey. What up, Mikey?
How's it going again?
It's not going well.
Yeah.
I kind of teased that we were going crazy. Well, you want to get into that? You want to set it up?
So me and Doug, we just recorded maybe the best hour of podcasting that has ever been recorded in the history of broadcasting, at least on this planet. And our file got corrupted and deleted, so here we are again. It's 9:21 at night. The last podcast, we were watching the 49ers Seahawks game and had some very insightful commentary to go along with that game. Really just worked out. It was just an excellent episode, guys.
Yeah, and look, I don't think either of us honestly were in the mindset to do this tonight. I'm feeling pretty beat up. It's just, you said when you got here, you're like, God, it's been a long, shitty day.
It's been a long day.
Yeah, and then it's continuing for the both of us. And so here we are again. I think we're both just ready to fucking punch somebody. So
we're going to move forward with this podcast. We just decided to put on the movie Cyborg.
To lighten the load.
It's on HBO Go, or now, for anyone that has it. I just found out it's starring Jean-Claude Van Damme, which I'm stoked about. It's too bad we can't watch this with volume.
Yeah.
But hey, maybe next time, guys.
I don't think we really need it, but...
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Wait, back to that pillow. You used to fuck a pillow?
Oh, all the time.
Like, what would you just like? Would you open a zipper? Or how would you fuck this pillow?
It had a hole in it, and yeah, just kind of,
Like a was it supposed to have a hole in it, or do you cut one in it?
I don't know. Yeah, I honestly don't know the origin story of my dick getting in there, but
Did you lubricate it?
no, it just felt great without anything. It's just something about. I still think about that pillow.
I remember when I was a kid. You remember that? Do you remember that first time you accidentally jerked off?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think every guy does. For me, it was the first time I slept under flannel sheets as a 10-year-old. Those sheets just rubbed my hog in just the right way when I was rolling over, and I must have been thinking about Celine Dion at the time or something. And
you were saying
did I
something
just say
about
Celine Dion? I really did.
We're going insane. We were talking about Celine Dion in the first version of this podcast, and now it's just here.
I really didn't mean to say Celine. I meant to say Britney Spears.
Sure. Well, yeah. Sure enough.
Yeah. I was thinking about Sylvester Stallone.
You're thinking about Van Damme. That's why we're watching this movie.
Yeah.
And you also had a chair incident or incidents.
Yeah. Thanks for bringing that up for all your listeners. So, I was like an 11-year-old when I first started tugging it, and we had this chair in our computer room, and like, I feel like every young male doesn't really know what to do with their load, I'll call it.
Right.
So I would basically just jay off onto this computer chair, and then just rub it into the fabric of this computer chair.
Oh my God!
And over about a 10-month period, this computer chair basically turned into like a hard, just like it was almost like a plasticky kind of membrane covering this whole thing. I really committed to this story, even though I wasn't really prepared to say it.
Wow, that was a lot. But
I gotta say, I think this
appreciate it.
podcast is actually starting off better than the last one.
Yeah, no, it's lots of loads.
We didn't talk about loads last time.
So much cum, just cum blast. This is the cum blast episode. That's the name of it.
I would love to see your audience retention after this.
Oh, hey, new microphone. Check this out. Hey, I christened it.
He literally
man.
just farted into a microphone.
Oh God, it's really just sticking with this. You were like, "Hey, these are your mics. You can fart into them all you want."
You know, when
I
we
have farted into yours.
You know, when we changed the podcast setup, I connected my microphones.
No!
These are not your microphones.
Oh God damn it! I'm sorry. Oh Jesus! What if this is how I get pink eye? Like the week of my album recording,
Well,
I just gave myself pink eye from farting in because we.
Can you give yourself pink eye for farting on yourself? If you fart in a pillow and it's
yeah.
Because I realized the other day I sprained my ankle and I was elevating my leg.
Yeah.
I was watching TV on the couch and I had like 4 pillows, kind of suspending my leg up, and I farted right into one of my pillows, and it's my main pee.
Right.
Pillow. I'm trying to think of a nickname for pillows, but no, that doesn't really work. It's my little pill.
Well, I think you can easily give yourself. I think that's how a lot of people get pink eye.
Well, I thought it was like someone else's farts.
I think there's that too. But I don't know. Well, let's not go down this fart hole.
Hey, if we have any doctors out there, please send us a
give
message.
Us the answer. We've got a lot to get to.
I think we have a pretty intelligent audience out there. Probably a lot of doctors,
Oh
lawyers.
yeah, man. Yeah. 69th base.
A lot of shamans and medicine men.
Yeah, that's all. That's the whole demographic.
Yeah, a lot of Redskins fans out there.
Yeah. Guys. Oh boy. Before we get to Skip, I've got another story. This is we had talked about the Nicole Kidman Foundation a couple weeks back and how weird that was and how big that got. This joke of an organization that I started at the University of Texas to help get Nicole Kidman back on her feet after she divorced Tom Cruise.
Did you already do stand-up at that point?
No, I love you said that exact thing for the last podcast. You're like scripting this, but that was good. That was good. Sorry, guys.
People love to hear about the comedy backstory. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, but I was not.
I might do that a few more times throughout the episode. Let's not point it out. No?
Yeah, I know, because it's not funny to them. This is all inside baseball. It feels like we're just two people going crazy on in a small cabin.
Yeah,
hoping somebody's gonna rescue us because we're snowed in.
Yeah, but in reality, like we've never met each other, and
Yeah.
each one of us is on like an acid trip in like different parts of the world.
Anyway, the Nicole Kidman Foundation, kind of how that came to be. I like to mess with people. So one thing I would do, I would buy multiple bottles of Dayquil. I would empty it out, clean it out, put water in there, a drop of red food coloring, and then I would get a bottle of prescription pills, empty those out, and then put like Tic Tacs or some sort of candy in there. And then I would get on the University of Texas shuttle bus to go to class. My classes didn't start till like 11 or so, and because I was a lazy piece of shit. And I would get up at like 7 a.m. during midterms for all the people that were hardcore and worried about their tests.
I think I made that lazy piece of shit joke last episode.
Maybe.
Sorry. Keep going.
But so I would get on the bus with a Walkman, and I would have songs on this like little like cassette. This is how old this is. I'm dating myself. And I would have songs that would easily get stuck in your head, like Jackson 5's ABC and shit like that. And then I would
Come on, Eileen.
Yeah, come on, yeah, stuff like that, where it's like it would super get stuck in somebody's head, just to trip people up for their midterm. So they would have that in the back of their mind, and then I would just start chugging. When they'd stare at me, I would just start chugging Dayquil, and then throwing those pills down my throat, and then I'd always offer it up to people. Oh, and I would bring did you guys have blue books in college where you'd have to like?
Yeah.
You'd have to buy.
You have to buy those stupid testing books.
Yeah, and I don't know if they still do that, but I didn't.
We had to do that in high school.
Yeah, so I would bring one of those, and it just said "fuck you, professor" real big on the front, and I would like look up. I would offer up shots of Dayquil to people. Nobody ever took me up on it, and it was just all for me to get in their heads so they would maybe fail a test, and it was so funny to me. And like I don't know if I affected anyone. But I started, we talked I think it was last week with David, like how we'd fuck up a friend of mine who was a professor, like their class is real hardcore. It was a slow evolution. Like I went with a girlfriend at the time and to her class, and I just in the middle, like 30 minutes into her class, class of like 200, I just started screaming, "I'm on so much acid right now." And then elaborated on that a little bit.
I got to know, like, how terrified would you have been if someone did take you up on your shot of Dayquil, they grabbed it, they took a big swig of it, and they're like, "This isn't fucking Dayquil"? Would you have panicked and and quit the gag at that point?
Oh no, I would have loved that. That's like that just expands the joke.
Yeah.
But then, kind of right before Nicole Kidman, I did this thing where I put on a suit and tie, and I waited for the bus near our place. I live with 3 roommates, and I was waiting like impatiently for the bus, and I was kind of pacing around, kind of trying to make people with nervous energy that I had, and then I get on the bus, and I'm kind of like at first like just rocking back and forth a little bit. But then as it goes on, as we get closer to the campus, I start to like kind of talk to myself lightly. And then I'm kind of like hitting myself in the head real hard, like getting myself psyched up. And then when we're like about to pull
not
up.
a whole lot's changed, I guess.
Yeah. So I'm the same old guy. And as we pull up, I open the briefcase. There are latex gloves in there. I put those on. And then I put pantyhose over my head. And then I handcuff the briefcase to my hand. And I sprint through campus. And like people waited to get off the bus. They were like, "Let me go through the bus," and nobody got off for a second. I run through campus. Probably easily could have got shot because somebody running with a briefcase that's handcuffed to them with pantyhose.
If this happened in 2019, I'm pretty sure you probably would have been shot and killed.
Absolutely. By either, especially in Texas, it could have been anybody with a gun.
Yeah. This was like what, like
2001-ish.
Yeah.
And
pre 9/11.
Yeah, right before. And so I get to where I was going actually that day, which was an advisor to talk about my classes for the next semester. And she's like, "Oh, you look nice today. You dressed up in your little suit." And little did she know I'm just a maniac. I get advised, figure out what class I'm going to take the next semester, put the pantyhose back on my head, handcuff it back, put the latex gloves back on, sprint back to the bus. And when I get there, I pull out, I open the briefcase. Everybody around me is terrified. Some people think it might be a joke. Nobody knows how to act, though. And I pull out a change of clothes, and I change down to my boxers right then and there, put the suit, cram it into the suitcase. I pull out a phone. I had a number of like fake, or they were real phones that were just weren't activated because
Burner phones.
Yeah, burner phones, because I worked at a shoe store that had taken over another space next door that used to sell cellular phones. And so my boss at the time was like, Doug's weird. He probably will find some weird use for these cell phones. So she's like, do you want these? Like, yes, I want those 100 phones. And so I take out the phone. I make this fake phone call to this drug dealer, and I start screaming about a drug deal gone bad. And then at the end of it, because I don't need this phone, but it's a real phone. It's not like a toy phone that's obvious. I throw it against a tree.
And this is 2001. This is pre-iPhone. So like those babies are real phones.
Oh, yeah. This was
That's not like having a flip phone now.
For sure. And it shatters, and people are just like, what the fuck is happening? And then I get on the bus, and no one else got on that bus. It was me just laughing hysterically. This kind of sounds like almost the Joker movie, and this is like,
yeah.
And then what's really funny is I had a friend at the time who had been called by, it was either like the FBI or the CIA, one of my roommates, some guy we knew in high school.
He was called by them?
Yeah, he was called because somebody from our high school was trying to get a job working at the White House at the time. And so they called my roommate as a deep background check because he listed my friend who was really responsible as like a
if you want to be like a ranger or any kind of like big government agency, agent.
Yeah,
that's a pretty deep dive.
Yeah, it's pretty extensive. So they had called him, and they were supposedly, they ended up just doing it over the phone, but there was a chance there were going to be CIA agents at our door that day. And like I had put all that shit, the pantyhose back on my head and the latex gloves on my hands, and handcuffed the briefcase back to my wrist to run up to the house just to fuck with my roommates.
Yeah.
And how funny it would have been if I had been shot by CIA agents.
And you not knowing that those guys were coming, and you see other people in suits, you probably would have tried to fuck with them.
Yeah. Oh my God, you're right. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I run up there, and that's how my buddy Lance told me about that. He was like, dude, you're very lucky right now. I was like, why? And he tells me, and I'm like, oh my God.
You probably would have like busted out like a Point Break joke or like something, you
right.
know?
I probably would have thought it was my roommate Dave that like has an equally.
Get him when he comes back in. Yeah.
He has an equally extensive sense of humor, and I'm just like, this is Dave one up in my joke.
Yeah. Extensive. Is that how you categorize your sense of humor as extensive?
Elaborate. That's a better.
Yeah.
I am drinking vodka for the second episode. I was sober. I was like, Mike, you don't feel good. I can't drink this week. But then we had the little mishap, and now I'm gonna.
Then he got one White Claw on him, and
now I'm gonna
shit's getting crazy.
Drink myself blind.
We also had our clothes on in the first podcast, and
we're now sitting Indian style, just naked, looking deep into each other's eyes.
Yeah, we just shaved Doug's dog so he could be naked with us.
Guys,
sorry, Penny.
A quick recap inside the NFL this week before we get to Skip. Okay, here it is. The Cowboys are still confusing as a team. Antonio Brown is still insane. Lamar Jackson is still really good. Patrick Mahomes is back, and he's great, but KC is not great.
I got to cut you off there and say that I was wrong about Lamar Jackson.
Dude, he is fucking great.
I was wrong about Lamar Jackson.
Did you see that spin move?
That spin move.
God damn.
I mean,
he can throw it. I was telling you.
Yeah, I didn't see him as a passer. I saw him as like a wild runner who's going to get hurt. And like that's still a possibility because he still has a little wild side to him when he runs.
But he can still throw.
I didn't think the Raven. I thought like when they started him over Flacco, I was like, okay, for the close out the season, they're probably going to find another like quarterback who might replace him next year. But continue. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh no. The Browns get a win. The Jets win the shit battle of New York. The Raiders are actually looking good. And the Steelers are still in it. So my apologies to the listeners. You know who you are. About shitting all over your team because you guys look better than the Cowboys right now. Quick recap of the NFL this week according to Skip. Dak Prescott is good. That's it, guys. That's his recap pretty much. That could be the end of the podcast because we're now getting into Skip, and that's pretty much all he has to say.
Basically all we covered in the last podcast. So we can probably just cut it off here if we want to.
Yeah, I think that's it. But yeah, seriously, it's that dominated. The Cowboys lost, and that's all they talked about on the podcast or whatever his show today. But before we dive into like what actually happened on the show, someone passed along a video to me that is so freaking hilarious, and you can look it up. It's I think it's called like Skip Bayless doesn't think his outrageous takes are outrageous or something like that. It's got a really long title. It's on YouTube. It's part of another. Skip Bayless does not believe his takes are outrageous. It's like two guys on their own show talking about how dumb Skip Bayless is, as just like we like to do here. And Skip's being interviewed very seriously, and he's talking about how intense he is at his job and stuff, and he gives a little background. But there's some cutaways, some B-roll of Skip working out.
Just the weirdest B-roll I've ever seen.
It's kind
I'm
of
a videographer and cameraman.
Yeah, you do that, and
that's what I do, and it's obviously like the kind of B-roll that you show up for this job, and it's one of those overbearing clients who's like, "This is what we're gonna do. I want you," who thinks they know what good cinematography is, and they're like, I'm going to be looking out this window, and I want you to get a fucking tight shot of my face. You know? And they're like, I want you to see the pain of my past.
Yeah, he's looking all pensively, and then he's working out. And by the way, when he's doing a chin-up, he's doing about...
What, there's like a dwarf standing under him, pushing his legs up,
he's
right?
doing like an eighth of a chin-up, like he goes about an inch of movement. And then he's got like two full plates on each side of this one machine, and it would like full on like the 45ers,
like turkey dinners.
Yeah.
No.
And so like it would be impressive if he did it, but he just pushes them like a half inch. So it's like, dude, I don't even think you're
That's like
doing anything.
Good way to describe my sexual career. You know?
He's probably thinking about that while he's doing that, and yeah, it's real bizarre. I just think he like any way he can fork in his like working out whatever. It's weird. Like he talks about it way too much. He loves himself some him, but
yeah.
Some of the shit that he said on there, give it a watch. But it is unintentionally hilarious. But he says that he's been right on all of his takes, and that they're not outrageous. He also says that he is. Talking about his show with Shannon Sharp, he's in a verbal fist fight every day, and the only way to beat him is you gotta perform. He then gives some background as to why he feels this way. He says, till the 10th grade, I thought I was it. And what he means by that is like a great athlete. He said he got a taste. It was a godlike thing to me. And he knew what it feels like to be that guy.
This is a direct quote.
Yeah, and I'm quoting this fucking thing, and so he's basically saying he's godlike, which we all know he thinks he is, and he also says the coach never liked me. Of course he didn't.
I think that's what the villain said in Cyborg at the beginning of this movie. He got a taste of human flesh, and he cannot be beaten.
And by the way, he says like till the 10th grade, I thought I was it. That's how like every young boy that played any sports, we all thought we were gonna play in a Super Bowl or a World Series. He's making it sound like he's this major victim.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like, no, dude, like that's everybody. Everybody wanted to play sports.
Yeah,
most people, or be a rock star.
What kind of pathetic loser like comes to that realization like when they're in 10th grade? And that defines their whole life.
Yeah, like,
you know?
And so, like, and I've been preaching this on this podcast. It's real. He believes all this shit, and this video is just more evidence because he just went from, I'm a failed athlete that was gonna win the Super Bowl to now this show is my Super Bowl every day, and I'm the winner.
This show is my NFL.
Yeah, it's pretty sad.
And I am Bill Belichick.
Yeah, he in there he did straight up liken his sports to his show. He says he's a fighter and a competitor. And he also said, I'm the guy they love to hate. but they actually love to love, and that's also not accurate. Just
That's
funny.
like something a rapist says. You know?
Oh, God, yeah, you're right. But yeah, it's just crazy that he thinks that he's always right, and he's once again always wrong in this interview. And speaking of always wrong, we're gonna switch over. It kind of all connects. I've read a little bit more in Skip's wife's book, Balls: How to Keep Your Relationship Alive When You Live with a Sports Obsessed Guy. And guys, I found some pretty funny stuff. It is very revealing.
And guys, this book, I have to say, it has nothing but 5-star reviews on Amazon. To spice it up a little bit, for each listener out there, can we just get y'all to go on the Amazon page and write the worst review possible? Can we bring that 5-star review down, please?
But don't mention the podcast, because then he'll...
And maybe he'll retweet it, you know?
Yeah, true. That's true. But then he'll fucking find a way to shut
Guys,
us
let's
down.
bring that 5-star review down. It's written by nothing but Skip fanatics.
Yeah.
Let's get some Skip haters in there.
Yeah. At some point, I want us to go head to head, but we need more steam first. So, speaking of which, before we move on, write a review, give us 5 stars on our thing, and be sure to subscribe. You have no idea how far that goes. Also, we just saw a butt on Cyborg. There was a woman running into the ocean, and now Van Damme's naked. Are we going to see his dick?
Hey, it's called a cock for him, all right? I don't know what that means.
So I'm going to skip in. Again, I haven't read this whole dumb, horrible book.
Don't say
but
skip in.
sorry.
You're going to jump in.
Chapter 4, Skip Q&A. Skip forces his way into this book multiple times. It's like he couldn't let his wife have one thing. And so this question is asked of him. Why do guys love sports so much? And skipping in, God damn it. Yeah, now that's in my head. He says, it often starts with athletic frustration, which has been my whole theory, which I was just talking about in that interview where he was frustrated that he wasn't, going to be a star athlete. He says the vast majority experience for people, or like guys, is that moment of truth in which the realization hits you like a 250-pound linebacker that your sports career will end short of your childhood dream. He grew up thinking he was going to play Major League Baseball, but the moment of truth came for him when he was like playing in a game one day, and he realized he just wasn't ever going to be as good as this one really great player he was playing against.
That was like me with my older brother. You know? I was like, he's got sports on lockdown. I'll start smoking drugs.
Well, that's a fine way to. It's a good route to go. Like Skip could have done that.
Yeah.
He probably would have turned out way cooler. Skip needs some fucking drugs.
Yeah.
We talked about it in the last episode. Take some fucking mushrooms or something. But he said, and I knew I would never be able to do that. I would never be anything more than a pretty good high school baseball player. I like that he still had a fork in a compliment. That's so funny to me.
And not even like, I mean, I kind of got I like the one redemption here is he says a pretty good. He didn't say a fantastic or a great. He's like, I was a decent player.
And then he says, this is so funny. Still, I'd been good enough to watch major league games and occasionally wonder, what if I'd had a father or big brother who pushed me harder? What if I'd worked harder at baseball instead of spending so much time playing basketball? A lot of athletes play multiple sports. All the best play multiple sports.
Yeah.
And
that's probably why he hates Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, and you can't motivate yourself, you piece of shit. Like he's just he's the king of excuses. And this is just so weird because he was just asked, why do people like sports so much? And he's just going on to this thing about like, I'm a failure. I was a failure in high school, but I'm still the best person.
Yeah.
He then goes on to say that, like he's talking about how guys can relate to sports because they played some sports or this or that. But then he says, I love movies, but I often can't relate to, say, superhero movies, except for maybe Batman. What the fuck is he talking about?
Was he an orphan?
I don't know. He has a famous brother that I think is a chef or something.
Yeah. Oh, how could he be related to Batman?
I don't think his parents were murdered in an alley. I don't think he puts on a cape at night.
Is he afraid of bats?
Maybe. Well, there's actually a chance he could put on a cape and tights at night because he's always wearing tight fucking weird shirts on his Instagram.
Yeah. Man, imagine what his costume would just be silver and blue with a star on it. You know? He would just,
I am Cowboy. Dak Man.
Yeah, but I mean, Dak Man is probably even too creative. It'd probably just be like,
Yeah.
yeah.
He'd just be, I am superhero.
Yeah.
I'm God. I'm God Man.
I'm God Boy.
I'm Ego Boy.
Yeah.
Skipping ahead, these are just some of my favorite quotes. I'll get through. He says, and guys, I look, I know it's a deep dive into his psyche, but if you hate him as much as I do, this is A, fun. B, you guys don't have to read through all the shit because I'm doing it for you. So there you go. He says, I guess you could go so far as to say, I feel like less of a man if the Cowboys lose. That is insane. Also, he must feel like less of a man a lot because we haven't had the best 3 decades.
You're a Cowboys fan. Do you get some consolation when the Cowboys lose because you just imagine Skip in pain?
Oh, yeah, we've talked about that. I absolutely... It's almost as good as a Cowboys victory, as knowing it's kind of nice because it's like, well, you know, we're going to lose, but there's still some joy in this because I know Skip Bayless is pounding like a chair right now or like breaking some furniture and
hitting
screaming.
his wife.
Yeah, probably. Jesus Christ. Like,
he's like, put this into your next fucking book.
well, oh, God, there's stuff in here about like, oh, that was actually the next line I was going to read. It says he does enjoy watching it with his wife, watching games. But by myself, I can scream whatever words I choose to scream without having to worry about whether she's offended or scared or ready to leave me.
What?
Yeah, so that's all real. So, yeah, I think this, once again, this is all a cry for help for Ernestine Bayless. God bless her.
Poor little Ernestine. Let's start a pro Ernestine podcast.
yeah, there we go. It's like a rival podcast, but also, oh no, I guess it would.
Every week we record a bashing Skip podcast, stop it, publish it, then record a pro Ernestine podcast.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, yeah. I'm not gonna hate on her.
I don't know if we'll have enough material though. She doesn't have an Instagram. Like it's hard to even verify if she's real or not.
Mm-hmm.
It's like even in person, like it could be Skip in a wig and like some mud on his face, and you know.
Here's another weird line. But all this is why I can't stop watching sports and why my wife will never quite understand. I love that Skip's just saying like his wife can't understand this at all. That either A, sounds like she's dumb, or B,
yeah. I mean, first off, it's either way, it's hard to justify.
There's not a positive there.
Yeah.
When asked about, do you feel like you have a fair amount of like game time versus like relationship time, he says, skipping down, then we get back to date night after watching a bunch of games. It's not perfect, but it barely works. What even is that sentence?
Another joke about my sex life inserted here, you know? Yeah, like what woman settles for that? That kind of direct quote from their husband.
I don't know what she gets out of this relationship.
You're married. I'm just a fresh-faced young 30-year-old.
But like Flynn enjoys comedy, so we have that, and then we also have a bunch of mutual interests, and then a bunch of outside interests that we both.
But like, if you were like, "Hey, Flynn, I love you, but you're good enough. You're not the best, but you're good enough."
Yeah, she'd love that.
Yeah.
God, Ernestine, come on. This he also says this is the best I can do, but I don't play poker with the guys on Wednesdays. So he's acting like, you know, that's a consolation prize. Like I do have that time,
because you don't have any friends.
Yes,
you
exactly.
Fucking idiot.
Thank you. That's what I. Yep. And
no guys want to play poker with you.
And then he says, in this game, I believe I can play for a tie. He's talking about his marriage, which is better than the loss of my marriage. He's playing for a tie. So hey guys, I'm gonna go for the bare minimum.
If the Cowboys played for a tie, would Skip be satisfied?
If the Cowboys, no, not at all. Yeah, wow, great. Yeah, God, why is she not throwing that into his face?
This is a better podcast than the last one, I gotta say.
Yeah. I read after that they were talking about jinxes and his belief in like that if he, you know, and everybody like gets a little superstitious during games, but I don't actually believe that. If I spilled a drink or whatever, then the Cowboys lost because I spilled that drink or some dumb shit. But he goes on to once again tell this anecdote about she did something during a Patriots game, the AFC Championship game last year against the Chiefs, and when she did something weird, Tom Brady made his biggest mistake of that game. But and he was like furious.
Didn't they win the Super Bowl?
They fucking won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So maybe her doing that is what it's like. Shut the fuck up. So anyway, there you go. You guys don't have to read that. I'm gonna, I'll find some more tidbits and throw them your way. It's ridiculous. I just why would you put that information out there?
Can we hire a ghostwriter just to write an anti-skip book? Just like, can we just start logging all of these things we say, all of these anti-skip?
Just put it all together.
Just put it all together into just a short little novella. And, I'll put up the money to get it published. I just came into a $1,500 paycheck for my last month of work. So, I got a lot of money this month, and more than I know what to do with.
By the way, I saw an article about Skip Bayless's workout routine and diet. He eats the same meal every day for lunch and dinner for 5 days a week.
Me too. It's all McDonald's number 3s.
At least that's I don't know, like
respectable.
yeah.
I don't think so.
Well, I guess not boring. I don't know. He eats baked chicken and like broccoli and rice or something.
Yeah, a little steamed spinach thrown in there.
What a piece of garbage. I mean, I guess, that's what I should be doing.
Yeah. I mean, the guy's made it to 70,
Right. And he's in good shape. But fuck him. Moving on to the Cowboys loss. The Cowboys did lose at the end of the game for whatever fucking reason. Dak was on fire, and they ran Zeke a couple times when they had a chance to win the game. Zeke had been bottled up all game. And then Dak was playing well at that point. And then for whatever reason, on fourth down, they threw a little out route to Zeke, and he was fully covered, blanketed. The ball's batted away. And Skip's big frustration was Dak did not have a chance at determining the outcome of the game, which I think is total bullshit.
I find since I've been watching the Cowboys, since right before the Tony Romo era is really when I remember consistently watching the Cowboys, right?
Right.
Whenever they had a big game, whenever the game was on the line, all they do is run these little shitty check down plays, and who is responsible for the fucking play calling in Dallas, because they've gotten several different offensive coordinators.
Yeah, and it's always kind of the same.
But they have the same kind of stale. It's like the Raiders. If the Raiders are their offense is booming, it's like they'll go up 2 touchdowns and then they'll start playing conservatively.
Well,
it's like Dallas. If they're down 2 touchdowns, they'll start throwing these little 3 to 4 yard check down plays.
Yeah, it was weird. They were being so aggressive, and then they just stopped when they needed to be the most aggressive.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think a lot of that's nobody super creative wants to work for Jerry Jones. We're just gonna get these yes men, in all facets or whatever.
He is like the Donald Trump of football.
Yeah, that's a pretty accurate statement. But Dak didn't. That's bullshit that he didn't get a shot at determining the outcome when he's the guy that threw the last 2 passes. He also threw a Hail Mary.
Didn't he throw like 350 yards in the second half too?
He had a lot. Yeah, I don't know what the second half stat was, but he did well. But that's a problem. We were talking about that in the first recording. Dak's big fucking problem is he starts too late. It's like he's on ice the first quarter or two. They went up 14-0, and then it's like he comes in the second half okay, guys, I'm ready to play. You can't fucking do that. You can't have a great half. And, Skip's talks about how great he was in the second half. Who gives a fuck? It's too late. He lost the game. And, him saying, he didn't have a chance. He threw that last pass. He could have kept the ball and run. He could have looked for another receiver. Also, he could have fucking audibled. Was
that a fourth down?
That was fourth down, and that was the game. He had one more chance. What
was the final score?
Oh shit!
It was a 3-point game.
Yeah, I think 27-24 maybe.
How did Captain Kirk play?
He was all right. He wasn't spectacular. He came out hot. So that's kind of what won the game was that he got on the board early.
Yeah.
And but it was kind of the opposite of Dak. But he had a it was a fine game.
Texans had a bye, so I kind of took a week off of football this weekend.
Yeah. By the way, when he talked about the audible thing, like it was brought up. I think Shannon was like, "Well, he could have called a different play," and Skip said he doesn't have that control or something. But it's like, yeah, you do. You're the fucking quarterback. You can do whatever you want in the end.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, all the great ones do it all the fucking time. And so he's like, I love it when he tells Shannon how to play the game. That was ridiculous. And on top of everything else, Mr. Skip Bayless, Mr. Going on 70, threw away yet another jersey. He said the game was all Zeke's fault because Zeke didn't have a great game. But if you watch the tape, it felt like as soon as the ball was in his hands, there were 3 defenders that were like in the backfield like he was just like it was impossible.
I mean, he might as well put it on the fucking strong safety,
Yeah.
If like
right.
like,
Oh, that's another excuse he always has. He's like, Dak can't play safety. But yeah, like Zeke had a tough game. It's because the Vikings were like, let's shut down their best player, and then let's make Dak win, and he couldn't fucking do it. And so he threw Zeke's jersey away, and the video is absolutely absurd. It's really sad. He's dressed like a toddler, and he's wearing a jersey. He's wearing a Dak jersey, carrying another jersey to the trash, and he throws it in the trash. He also overacts like he can't even.
It's just terribly overacted.
Yeah, and it's like a 4-second video,
and he gets
can't
his
even
poor
act
wife
in that.
to film it.
Yeah, and he probably did multiple takes and was like, "Yeah, that's the one. I look really cool right there." And it's another video where it's like the jersey. He's too old to wear a jersey. Also too old to pull off those athletic shorts. It doesn't work. It's just sad.
Yeah, the whole all around. Y'all go check it out on Twitter, but don't subscribe to him.
Yeah,
or don't follow him.
Yeah. And also last week he said Zeke was the best running back in football, and now he's thrown away his jersey. So that's fun. He makes sense. Also, do yourself a favor and when a Cowboys game is on, when they're losing, it's very entertaining to watch his Twitter feed as he starts out with, "We're going to destroy this team." And then before the first quarter was up, he had given up on the Cowboys. And then not 5 minutes later, he's back in it with like, "We're going to fucking win this thing." It's a roller coaster. It's so ridiculous.
Yeah.
I don't think he knows how time works, that like things can happen between moments.
Like before you know it, you're 67 years old.
Yeah. And you did nothing with your life that's actually
other than not play pro baseball.
Yeah, that's your big accomplishment is not doing a thing.
Yeah.
Other embarrassments in Skip's world, I don't think he would say this because he technically won an award. But so Skip Bayless won an award. He's like in the Hall of Fame at his high school. And he wears that proudly. I think for him, that's like winning the Super Bowl. That's like,
yeah.
He's like, because I did this thing off the field, I'm getting this major award.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even go to my high school graduation. And I was out of there as soon as class was over. But Skip really feels like he seems like the kind of guy that would take pride in that. He's like, high school, I didn't really get him like I should have.
Yeah.
So when they give me this award, it's what I deserve because I wasn't as social as I wanted to be, and all this other justified bullshit.
And can you imagine? I guess there would be people at that ceremony. Oh, also, I didn't show you this, but there is video of him accepting the award, and
Really?
for something like that, it's like I think it's like a high school girl putting it on him or
Does
whatever.
he try to do a backflip?
No, he's shirtless, like trying to flex. No, but he like goes up there, and like for an award like that, there's a certain way where you duck down at the right moment. He like ducked too early, like he even fucked that up. Because I think he was so excited, like I won an award. Like he is straight up a fucking child. It's ridiculous. But
yeah, I won an award. Give it to me. Yay.
But do you think there's one kid at that school that's like, I want to be like Skip Bayless when I grew up? Like
if there is, that kid's a fucking loser.
Yeah, there's probably
and he deserves to be bullied. No,
I think there's one Skip Bayless at every school.
Yeah, I mean, I was bullied in high school, guys, but only.
But you deserved it because you were a nerd.
Yeah,
Just joking.
I mean, I was only bullied. I was really bullied by the nerds because I wanted to be a nerd, but they were like, "No, you are too chubby to be a nerd, which has never been said by any other nerd. But let's cut this part out of the podcast. Huh?
Oh, I'm just gonna put that on loop.
An hour of that statement.
Wow. You know. Oh, by the way, what is up with? He just wears creepy tight shirts on his Instagram. It's weird.
They're like
Who's that for?
women smalls.
Yeah, really. I think it is. I think somebody pointed out it looks like. Was it you that said?
I mean, that was
women's jerseys. I really think that is the man.
Yeah, and thanks for taking my rumor of the week. No, they're really cut like a women's jersey. They're narrow in the shoulder, because men's jerseys, they're supposed to have shoulder pads that fit in there.
Yeah, they're supposed to be huge. Yeah, massive. Or it could be like
it could be a kid's jersey. Yeah.
Oh my God.
A kid's small or medium.
Please don't let him ever wear like
an infant large
Zeke midriff cutout. You know, I don't want to see that.
Yeah, I mean it's coming. It's happening.
Well, just because this was such a deep dive into Skip and not enough sports this week, I did have kind of a crazy week, but let's just you want to talk some Antonio Brown for just a moment?
Oh yeah, let's do it.
What the fuck? Like, did you see what happened exactly this week?
So I saw on Twitter that he posted like, I'm tired of my name being slandered. All I want to do is play football. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Is there something else?
Yeah, he said that. No, I think it started with he wanted to get back in.
I just saw a tweet he put up like, I'm sick of people slandering me. I want to play football.
Oh no, that was the second. It started.
That was like probably Friday.
It started with there was news that there were some teams interested. He was going to go to a meeting like this week, so it's like, A, who the fuck is thinking that's a good idea to have him on the team? B,
maybe the Dolphins.
Nah, I can't imagine that with their total rebuild.
Yeah.
You don't want to start with him as the building block.
The Raiders take him back.
Oh my God, that'd be beautiful. He starts out, I think he was like, yeah, I'm going to be back in the NFL. And then once the news comes, I read that in the morning. And I'm like, God, I can't believe teams are interested. And it looks like he's maybe going to come back after a suspension. But then like 3 hours later, there's like an update that he said the NFL is racist and he's never going to play in the NFL again, once again. And then not 2 hours later, an apology, and I want to play in the NFL, and I'm sorry about all that. Which just means his agent got to him.
It just means he's emotionally unstable.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
And wait, what is he just kind of suspended just for kind of being a clown?
He's got the rape allegations. He's got he threatened another person that also I think had allegations against him. There's a laundry he stiffed a bunch of people on tabs, like $30,000 tabs and shit. He's got so many things going on.
He stiffed 30,000
he didn't pay a chef like $30,000 or $40,000 or something crazy. He's
Really?
got a number of things going on. But hey, man, you know, I can't wait for the Raiders to pick. God, how great would that be? They just put Hard Knocks on them again.
Yeah. Hard Knocks epilogue. They should start filming end of season epilogues and re-releasing like a 2-hour episode. How great would that be?
That's only smart. Why don't they do that?
Yeah.
I can't.
I guess after like a losing season, it's not really like, hey, let's get everyone in here to film a 2-hour documentary about how shitty the season was.
They're like, aren't they like 5-4 now?
Yeah, they're doing
they're
good.
above 500.
They won this week, right?
Man, yeah. I wanted them to lose. I root against Gruden so hard.
They beat the Chargers, which like I don't really know. Like I always the Chargers are kind of one of those middle of the road teams for me. It's like I don't really like to see them. Like they seem like a decent team. I don't like to see them do bad. I would like to see. I mean, Phillip Rivers has been playing for a long time.
Yeah.
I don't really like. He seems like a nice guy. I don't really like people trashing him.
I
don't really like his.
I don't like him off the field just because he's got 9 kids and a bolo tie and he doesn't swear. I don't trust any guy that doesn't swear and wears a bolo tie.
I don't really like how he blames other people on his team. He's kind of like Jay Cutler. That's why I always hated Jay Cutler.
I just think the Chargers are like the most unlucky team that's ever fucking roamed the earth.
Yeah, so Chargers are 4-6 right now. They're third in the AFC West.
They have like the craziest injuries every year, and this year Melvin Gordon was out forever. But
I got a lot of friends who are Raiders fans. Madro family out there, if you're listening, live long and prosper. Yeah, Raiders are 5-4, 24-26 over the Chargers.
That is insane. So when you start your plan with let's get rid of Khalil Mack, and then let's get Antonio Brown in here, and then you're still successful.
Man, Phillip Rivers was 17 for 31, 207 yards, 2 touchdowns, 5 sacks, and 3 interceptions.
Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah.
Against a defense that's not great.
That's an accumulative QBR of 57.5, guys.
Wow.
We're changing this into a stats podcast.
I almost had a 57 this week. Oh, by the way, thanks to, before we get into the rumors, thanks to everybody that came out to the Santa Fe show. That was fun. It was a sold-out show or close to. Sorry to all of the old people I offended, and also big thank you to all the old people that were laughing hysterically at my dick jokes. I really appreciate that. Also, I thought I was going to pass out from altitude sickness 5 minutes before I went on stage, and Mikey walked me through it.
Hardly. I kind of just told you some depressing information, but
You just said we're all worthless and nothing matters.
that's basically what I said. Yeah, I was like, in the cosmic scale of this, we are bacteria on a rock floating in space, and nothing anyone on this planet ever does will matter. Then I realized you meant you had physical discomfort.
Yeah, it wasn't anxiety.
Yeah, it was like my stomach hurts, my head is about to explode, and I was like, oh, okay, well,
Go get him.
you go. Good luck, buddy. Yeah.
But thanks again for everybody that came out. And now let's do it. Let's start a rumor. Do you have a good rumor this week, Mikey?
Why don't you start it off for us?
Well, my rumor is that I heard, and this was from, actually, I have this neighborhood app, and this thing popped up with a warning about this crazy old man in the neighborhood, and there's actually some grainy video, and of course, me of all people, I would recognize one Skip Bayless. There's this crazy video of Skip Bayless running around to different neighborhoods all over Los Angeles, and he'll take babies out of their carriage, their little stroller, and he'll rip their diaper off, throw the baby back into the stroller, and then motorboat their shit just all over. And he kind of like inhales some of it a little bit, like he'll snort it a little bit at the end, but then he just, I think it's some sort of sexual pleasure. I don't really know, but it's really gross. It's really fucked up. So, be very careful if you have a baby. Always be aware of your surroundings. Look out for an old, leathery, sad, depressing old man. I think you'll be okay.
Yeah. Well, that's something else. Really, right there. That's I don't know even how to follow that one up. That's pretty wild stuff. I didn't really know that inhalation of baby poop could happen like that.
Yeah, that's a real thing.
Yeah, I'm gonna maybe give it a shot once I turn 68. Well, I was watching a show a few weeks back, and he said that he had been obsessed with the Jack Reacher movies lately.
Oh wow!
But he was like, but something about him disappointed me, and he didn't go into it any farther than that. He's just like, something about it disappointed me. So like I was curious, like what disappointed him. So like I went online, I dove into it. Apparently, he thought Jack Reacher was a sequel to the Jack Ryan movies, where he was just getting reach arounds the whole time, where Tom Cruise was just getting jerked off on camera, and he wasn't happy with it. He didn't want any part of it.
Yeah, once he found it was a real movie that was just an action movie.
And it wasn't just like an extended 2-hour hand job.
Yeah. Man, that'll do it.
Yeah. Have you seen those films?
I have not seen it. Didn't it come like the first one came out like around the first John Wick?
I
just
think
like-
I think the first one's probably like 2012, 2013.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
You know, those I'd recommend them. I'd highly recommend them.
Really? The Jack Reachers?
Yeah.
I can't watch Tom Cruise. I don't do Tom Cruise. I can't.
Do you?
He's too much. I can't look at his face.
No Tom Cruise.
What?
No Tom. You don't watch any Tom Cruise.
No.
No, even like Top Gun.
I mean, like, yeah, back in the day, I've like seen a bunch of Tom Cruise.
Are you going
but
to see the new Top Gun?
I don't know. I'll probably wait for it. I like the Creed movies and some of the stuff I like revisited. It's just, I think it's just Tom Cruise for me now. He's just this cartoon character.
Yeah,
It's not really real to me.
He's like this formula that works on
Yeah.
screen now.
I can't do it.
Yeah.
This is a sizzling way to end the podcast.
yeah. What else? Maybe the Taken movies. What else do we talk about?
We don't have to recreate all of it. I'm gonna cut half of this out. Oh God, Van Damme's what?
So this movie right now we're watching is Cyborg. A lot's happened. I've kind of been watching this more than paying attention to the podcast. Right now, Jean-Claude Van Damme has been crucified. He's hanging from a cross, and he is imagining having sex with someone while he's hanging from a cross.
Man, we have all been there.
And so is the Lord Jesus Christ, you know?
Also, how does he make love? Because this is kind of getting weird.
But I think he's a human.
Oh,
It's
okay.
weird to watch movies without audio.
Well, we got the rumors in the bag. It's been a fun podcast. We did it, Mikey, assuming that this audio won't disappear as soon as we're done.
I'm ready for round 3.
We're going to do shots, then I'm going to vomit, because that's happened 3 weeks in a row now.
So Doug has a little problem. I brought it up in the last podcast. I forgot to bring it up in this one.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. Damn it. I bet every time we record a podcast, usually at the end of it, I'm like, hey, Doug, let's take a shot. And the last 3 weeks in a row, Doug has vomited immediately after taking these shots.
Well, no, one of them was I did a warm-up show for my upcoming album thing, and I threw up all over Santa Monica Boulevard, all over. You know, after the first try of this episode, I wasn't going to do a shot, but now I really want to vomit.
Yeah, I
want to
mean,
vomit out all that fucking frustration.
can we get you to take a shot on the podcast?
Not this one, only because my wife is sick, and I'd have to run through the bedroom to throw up, and
She probably wouldn't like that.
yeah, probably wouldn't be good right now.
So, guys, you heard it here first. Next time I'm on the podcast, I'm assuming it'll probably be a month from now, maybe 3 weeks, a month, something like that.
I'm recording in Austin next week, but
We're gonna get Doug to take a podcast on air, and if he throws up, y'all will hear the whole thing. Unfortunately, I'm gonna bring a microphone into the bathroom. It's gonna be a whole new meta
oh God,
of podcast. What does that even mean? You know?
I don't know anymore. Guys, thanks so much for tuning in. Again, rate, review, subscribe, all that stuff. It goes a long way. Thank you. And I am recording Fart Safari 3, Fart Hard with a Vengeance, this coming Sunday in Austin, 8 o'clock, Cap City Comedy Club. And I will also be recording the second round on Wednesday the 20th. Same time, same place, 8 p.m., Cap City Comedy. Check it out. Come on out. Say hi. Thanks for listening, 69ers. Thanks, Mikey.
Mm-hmm.
Till next week. Bye.
Amen.